Facebook may finally be changing its status from private to public, but that doesn't mean everyone in the world will have access to its services. Just take a look at this visualization of the connections that Facebook's 800 million members have, and you can see the glow from Facebook's users in the US, in Europe, in Central America, and in Southeast Asia. But the world's most populous country is missing, and that is China. That's because Beijing continues to censor Western social networking websites. Now, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are all blocked in China, but in their place are services similar to them, but with Chinese characteristics. For example, in place of YouTube, the video sharing site, there's Youku, and instead of Twitter, well, we've got Sina Weibo, and there's no Facebook, as I said, but there is Renren, which means everyone in Chinese. Now, even without Facebook in China, though, the social network's impending IPO is having a huge halo effect on the country's tech stocks, and it is boosting their share prices. For example, since last Thursday's close in the U.S., Renren, which is listed on the New York Stock Exchange, jumped 51% through the early part of this week. And as for Sina, which is listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange and runs microblog site Weibo, its shares are up about 18.5% through today. Now, the belief here, a rising tide floats all boats, and with expectations of a successful Facebook IPO, there's more speculation on other industry players even halfway around the world.
Yeah, fascinating, isn't it? I mean, it's sort of got a bit of bubble written all over it when you're just getting that halo effect coming through to that sort of degree, Rami. But let's get back to Renren. I mean, the Facebook of China, as you were saying. But how does it actually stack up if you put it side by side with Facebook?
Yeah, well, basically doing a face-to-face comparison of the two companies, it's pretty clear that Renren has a lot of growing to do to compete with Facebook. First off, looking at revenue, well, as of the third quarter of 2011, Facebook's revenue came in at this, $2.6 billion, but Renren's came in just the millions. That's about $86 million right there. Measuring cash on hand in the same time frame, well, Facebook had nearly $4 billion, while Renren had just about one-third of that, coming in at just $1.25 billion there. And as for user numbers, well, Facebook says, as I mentioned, it has 800 million registered users, while Renren had less than a quarter of that. By the end of the third quarter of last year, it came in at just about 137 million users. So looking at all that stuff, revenue, cash on hand, and users, Renren does have a lot of expansion to get on with. But in the short term, Renren and these other tech companies in China may just be happy to ride the wave of Facebook's flotation and watch their own stock prices rise.